My name is Amanda Jackson. I am the newest member to the GOHS team. I'm the Occupant Protection Grant Planner, but I've been a grantee for a little over 3 years. And today I'm going to talk to you about program assessment, goals, objectives, activities, and evaluation. So what is our program assessment? We want to look at what you're currently doing in your community to address your traffic safety problem. What's working? What's not working? What current resources do you have? Are you partnering with schools, with civic groups? Are you conducting checkpoints monthly? If you're a current GOHS grantee, what are you using our funding for? What are your accomplishments? Have you been previously funded by GOHS for another traffic safety issue? When you're doing your activities, if you're funded, what are your anticipated roadblocks? What groups are you going to have to work through to get your program accomplished? What pushback are you going to face? Please let us know that and what your game plan is when that occurs. We also want to make sure that you're talking about what's working and what's not working in your community. You all are the experts on the traffic safety issues that your area is experiencing. And like Shanae said, we want to keep our problem ID and our program assessment separate. Our problem ID is the who, the what, the when, the where, the why. It's that hard traffic safety data. Our program assessment is what activities, interventions, policies, work you are doing in your community to keep people safe and to educate them on the risk of those traffic safety problems. So for my law enforcement agencies, we want to track what work you've been doing. We want to track your activity for the past 3 years in the next chart that I'm going to show you. For my non-law enforcement agencies, you'll simply put 0 in this chart. So for my law enforcement agencies, how many DUI arrests has your whole department done? How many speeding cases? How many seatbelt violations? All other traffic violations? How many traffic crashes? And how many checkpoints has your department conducted? I'm not sure if anyone here is applying for a young adult grant application, but if you are, we want to know your college population. And we say college population, we mean the population of students amongst all your campuses. So for example, Georgia State. There's several campuses in Georgia for Georgia State. So what's that total population amongst all of those campuses? Is there anything you can clarify on program assessment? So now we're going to talk about our project goals. And our goals, objectives, activities, and evaluations, they're the building block of our grant application. So we're going to build on each other to have a strong application so we can really show GOHS what we want to do in our community. So for our goals, these are our broad statements or our vision and what we want our long-term intended outcomes to be. So for example, decreasing speed crashes in our community or increasing our seatbelt use. If you look, I have it right here, there is a packet, a page, the goals sheet in your folder. These are the goals that we submit to NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, and these are the goals that we put in our highway safety plan. When you're doing your application, we want you to pick at least one goal from this list. When I was a grantee, I focused on increasing child restraint usage in Georgia. So you're going to pick one goal from this list. If for some reason the work that your agency wants to do is not included in this goal, on the EGO system, there's an option for other, and you can simply write your goal in. With this being said, these are the goals that we submit to NHTSA, so we encourage you to use the pre-populated goals that we have provided. Now we're going to talk about our project objectives. So what is an objective? It's what's going to be done to accomplish our goal during the grant year. There can be many objectives used to describe one goal. And we want our objectives to be SMART. But what does SMART stand for? S stands for specific. What exactly are we going to do? M stands for measurable. How will we know that this change has occurred? A stands for achievable. Can it be done within a year with our personnel, with our local agency's resources? Is it realistic? And again, is it time sensitive for the funding period that GOHS has? And this is an awesome packet you can reference. It's called Innovative Grants, Request for Proposals. If you look on page 17, there are many examples of different objectives for your traffic safety area, and they are SMART. I'm going to read two examples right now for you all, but you can kind of dog tag it or dog ear it for future reference. So during the grant period, XYZ agency will deliver the educational program on the importance of wearing seatbelts to 100 students in XYZ, Georgia. And during the grant period, XYZ law enforcement agency will initiate 480 seatbelt contacts. Another example of an objective you can do is looking at your local crash fatality rate. So we want to decrease our local crash fatality rate from 16% to 14% during this grant period. And our objectives are going to look at where we are as an agency or a community and where we want to go this next year. And I apologize, I did not switch the slide. And then the next object that I want to talk about is the NHTSA countermeasures. Shanae and Candace have already mentioned it earlier, but the NHTSA countermeasures, I'm not sure how many of you have used it before. It's a pretty meaty document, about 500 pages long, and there's chapters based on your traffic safety problem. So increasing seatbelt use, increasing child restraint use, decreasing speed fatalities. And you can look at that topic, and they have different evidence-based interventions. So when we say evidence-based, we know that that intervention works. And they rate these interventions on 4 different things. I'm going to explain those 4 different items to you right now. The first being effectiveness. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 stars. 5 stars is the best. We know it works, it's past rigorous research. We know it works in a variety of situations with a variety of people. 3, 4, and 5 stars are all considered effective programs. 1 and 2 stars, we don't know if they're effective or not. Maybe it's a new program and there's not enough research, or maybe the research is mixed. We also want to look at use. So a high-use program means it's in 2/3 of states in the country. Again, it's working in a variety of situations with a variety of people. Low use means it's working in less than 1/3 of states in the country. We just don't know all the variety of situations that this program can be in. We also want to look at cost. $3 signs, you're looking at more money, more people, more resources. $1 sign, you can do with what you already have, with your staff, with your people, and your facilities. And last, we want to look at time. If the program is long or high, it's going to take over a year to implement. If the program is low time, it's going to take less than 3 months. So after you identify your traffic safety problem, you can look at the NHTSA countermeasure book and look at the objectives for your traffic safety area to see what is feasible for your agency and for your community. Is there any questions on goals and objectives before we go on to the last section? And I'll be available during the break as well if you all have any questions. So for activities and evaluations. So an activity is what you are going to do during the grant period month to month to meet your objective and therefore meet your goal. And each month you're going to submit a monthly report or a progress report, and we're going to look at your activities and how many of that activity you did each month. So an example of a strong activity would be XYZ agency will teach 4 distracted driving workshops in schools. We know what you're teaching, where you're going, and who you're serving. We want our activities, just like our objectives, to be SMART: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time sensitive. And when you're writing your activities, you want them to be clear. So if I'm reading them at GOHS or any of our staff, we know exactly what you're doing and how you're helping the people in your community. And just like everything, we want the proof. We want to see what you're doing each month, how you're helping the families, and how you're helping the individuals that you serve. So when we do our evaluations, there's a couple examples. For instance, if you're doing car seat check appointments at your agency, you can save those car seat check forms and count the amount of adults, children you served, as well as submit your car seat check forms to us. If you are working on pedestrian safety, you can count and document the amount of people you're serving through citations, verbal warnings, as well as any outreach. And then if you're supporting any GOHS or NHTSA campaigns, for example, Robert will support in May the Click It or Ticket campaign, and you want to share that on your site's social media, you can do that as well. We're going to talk about how you can document that in a little bit. And with our evaluations, there are two different types. There are process evaluations that show that we're doing what we said we are doing, and we're doing it in the right way. So a process evaluation, for example, is if you're having an exhibit, you're at a health fair, at a safety fair, you have your table, brochures, you can take pictures of you working with people in the community, talking to families. You can count the amount of brochures that you give out, and you can count the amount of people you interacted with. If you're leading a meeting, hosting a workshop, you can attach the agenda, you can attach the sign-in sheet, and you can attach the evaluation from that event showing us what people liked and what you're going to improve on in the future. And for those social media posts, let's say you shared that GOHS campaign on your Facebook page. You can take a screenshot of that post and then report how many views that post has had. Let's say your agency is doing a car seat checkup event at the local Walmart. You want to put that event in your local newspaper. You can attach a copy of that article to your monthly report and then contact the newspaper for that average circulation number. So just again, some examples of how you can document the work that you're doing and show how you're reaching many people in your community. The other type of evaluation that we have is called an impact evaluation. And an impact evaluation shows that we've had a change in attitude, knowledge, or behavior from our program. An easy one that I did as a grantee is we did a lot of shops on car seat safety. We would do a pretest, simple 5-question, 10-question pretest. We would do the workshop for families on car seat safety, and we would give that same test at the end. So we'd have our pre-test average and our post-test average, and we could show that learning and growth occurred from our activity. And for my law enforcement folks, what you can also do is, let's say you want to focus on seatbelt use. The beginning of the grant year, you can get your local seatbelt use rate. And at the end of the grant year, you'll get your local seatbelt use rate. And you can see if your rate has improved based on the activity that your grant is doing. And then in EGOS, I know it was a lot of information, but just kind of recap what we talked about. Our goal is going to be based on the data in our problem ID. Our objective is a specific achievement needed to meet our goal. Remember, our goal is our long-term intended outcome. We want our objectives to be SMART. Our activities are going to be the specific actions needed to get this to happen, and our evaluation is the proof that it occurred. And so in EGOS right here, you can see you'll have your goal, your objective, your activity, and your evaluation for each month. Something important to note is that you can see on the bottom right here where it has different months. Those months are going to be how you report the amount of activity. So if your agency wants to do a car seat fitting station, and your goal is to serve 10 individuals a month, you'll put 10 under each month for a total goal of 120 individuals served during that grant period. Let's say, for instance, you want to do distracted driving workshops in schools. What months probably wouldn't be good to plan for a workshop? Summer, when the kids are out. So you don't want to plan anything for June, July, or August, but we'll plan our 4 workshops during other months, maybe January, March, September, or November. So you are the experts in your community, and you know when your activities are going to be most feasible based on your community needs.